Listen, I know we don't like to shit talk corporations just in case they might sponsor us one day, but I'm gonna go for it, Corey. Okay.
Walmart
The
is my
NBA.
sponsor.
No, I'm just kidding.
Dude.
I'm just kidding. McDonald's. All right. McDonald's. What happened to them, dude? What the fuck happened to McDonald's? What happened? Okay. First of all, McDonald's may have always been bad, but they weren't this bad. Okay. The drive-thru is always so fucking slow. Doesn't matter when you go. And I know it's like staff shortages and it's like that everywhere. McDonald's is like worse than everywhere else. I don't understand why. I've worked in fast food. I could run a kitchen by myself when I worked in fast food. I don't understand what the fuck's going on over there.
You and I had this conversation via text where I explained to you, and Austin, you be prepared. This is Fat Guy Radio Show rollover, carryover. I love you, Austin.
This is my fault, Austin.
Want to kiss you on the mouth, Austin. But you and I had a conversation when I pulled up to a McDonald's in my area last month, and I saw a sign that said, sorry, only French fries, drinks, and desserts till 5 p.m. No effing kitchen staff is literally what the sign said. And I saw that driving up to
why even stay open at that point?
Driving up to the drive up McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened with McDonald's, but not just one McDonald's by my house, but 3 of the closest McDonald's restaurants by my house. One, you and I, is in between you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Drove up around 8 o'clock one night, ghost town. Nobody's there. I'm like, is the big resignation thing that we're going through hitting the McDonald's ridiculously hard? Because McDonald's are closing at 8 o'clock at night.
It has to be that. And I also think people are starting to feel like us and they're just not going to McDonald's anymore.
No.
Granted, people still go.
Yeah, I was about to say, because even when I went there and they were closed, there were still cars driving through the drive-thru, even though it was closed. I mean, pulling up and seeing that it was closed and then going on about their way. There was still people up there. And then one morning, I finally found them open, and they were only serving like those little fake baked donuts things, coffee and drinks.
Yeah.
And there was still a line around the corner.
The one thing I like about McDonald's is that they have the $1 drinks. So, like, that's nice. You could just roll through the drive-thru, get a drink real quick. It's $1. But that doesn't work when you have to sit in the drive-thru for 30 fucking minutes to get your fucking drink. It's the worst thing ever. Like, what is the point of this? It's like but here's the nail in the coffin, okay, Corey? I got to tell you about this, okay? This is where this is all leading.
Tell me about it, braces.
All bridges lead to this, okay?
We've had this conversation. Narnia.
We've had this conversation multiple times about McDonald's being shit, but I always went back because it's McDonald's, you know, it's nostalgic, and I think that's how a lot of people feel. Like, you have bad experience at McDonald's, it's nostalgic, you go back. And it's upsetting.
You of your childhood.
We've had this conversation a million times where, like, it's the CEOs are making more money while the employees aren't making enough to even keep them hired, and that's part of the problems. Mm-hmm. But here's where I draw the line, Corey.
Draw the line, Jake.
I went to McDonald's. I'm never going back to McDonald's ever again after this experience.
What?
Ever. Never going back there ever again.
Eesh.
I went to McDonald's. I ordered a Big Mac meal. Okay? I wanted a Big Mac meal. I got my Big Mac meal. Okay? Took me 25, 30 minutes to get that fucking Big Mac meal, okay? But I got it, and I ate it. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, threw up everywhere, all over my bathroom.
No.
Threw up, had massive water butt, had to call out of work the next day. like it was the worst. They gave me fucking food poisoning, dude. McDonald's gave me food poisoning, and this is what happens when you don't pay, and properly train your staff, McDonald's. You give people food poisoning.
Okay, listen, I understand what you're saying, but I got to be devil's advocate a little bit on this. Okay, so have you had food poisoning from McDonald's before? No, wait. Let me start my argument a different way. Scratch that from the record. Have you ever been to McDonald's before and eaten a Big Mac meal?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to that particular McDonald's and eaten a Big Mac meal?
Yeah.
Have you ever had throw up and water butt from eating a Big Mac meal at that McDonald's before?
No.
I don't think that you should sacrifice the mission for the moment. Yes, I just read something off a piece of paper from my therapist. But listen, I don't think you should kill that McDonald's just because you had one bad experience.
It's not just one bad experience, though. It's all of these things. No, it's all of these things, Cory. It's the fact that every time I go there, the food isn't good because the cooks don't know what they're doing. They're not trained. They're not paid enough. I sit in a parking lot for fucking half an hour just to get a fucking drink. Every time I go there, the food isn't fresh. I've gotten Diet Cokes more than Cokes. I don't want Diet Coke, Cory.
I have a question.
And now I'm throwing up. I'm not going back to a place that has made me throw up. Okay?
Let me question.
It's not happening.
Question, Jacob.
I got answers. I got answers.
This McDonald's that makes you wait, that gives you Diet Cokes instead of Cokes. Have you been to that McDonald's, that particular McDonald's, more than once?
It's all of them, Cory.
It's a yes or no.
Every it's all single of them? Okay, one. So
it's every one of McDonald's, right? Have you been to different McDonald's before?
Yes. And they're all the same.
They're all the same. So you're clearly a glutton for punishment because you keep
That's what I'm saying.
Back.
I'm done.
No, you're not. You're going to go back again. We're going to go after the show. You're going to get a Big Mac meal. You're going to get the throw ups and the water butt, and you're going to like it.
I will go back if they bring back the Big Mac wrap. Okay.
I'll go back if they bring back the Hamburglar, big old huge plastic statue at the front door. That's when I'll go back.
I like Grimace. He was always my favorite.
I don't think that, number one, you're too poor to not eat at McDonald's. Okay, you're going to go back.
Taco Bell, though. I just go to Taco Bell.
Hey, Taco Bell is still the only place you can get gas for under $5. Listen,
so the thing is with Taco Bell gives me the shits, but it doesn't make me throw up violently.
No, it doesn't. It just gives you water butt. Jake, you have to realize that you're expecting gold out of a goose. McDonald's is goose. Your expectation. You always get on me about lowering.
I don't think you understand what kind of
expectations.
I don't think you understand like the amount, like the severity of this food poisoning. It was I was on my floor with the shakes. Like it was so
food
bad.
Poisoning. I am the Instagram chef. I've eaten everything from
I'm
horse
not doing it again.
to horse to a horse. I was going to say something really bad. I just bailed out on the joke. Just bailed
horse
right
semen?
out on it. No, it was going to be other semen. Listen, Jake, the thing that I'm trying to say, don't give up on the Golden Arches, man. They're there for poor people like you.
No, I will go back
if it's cheap and crappy and is destined to kill you, but you're going to eat it because it's going to give you temporary satisfaction. And you know what? Those golden arches do something to your brain, bruh. When you see those little golden arches, something in your brain just says, I got to have me some nuggets.
But it's different. It used to definitely do that. I agree. And they had like the Big and Tasty back in the day. It was great stuff. Oh, man, bring it back. But like that experience isn't the same anymore because you used to go there and you would expect the same level of crap every time you went. Now it's like, this is a different degree of crap. Every time I go, the buns are like hard. And like
nothing like firm buns. What?
Not firm, but like crunchy and like stale, like gross. Oh. Like I don't want that.
Like like the buns are erect.
Yeah, the buns are erect, Cory.
I love it when you selfishly fall into my joke. I love it when you selfish. Yeah, the buds are a wreck. Fuck.
5, 6, 7, 8. What is up, boys? Welcome to the Jake and Cory podcast. We're back. My name is Jake. That is Cory. What's up, Cory?
I love Jake. That's what's up. Listen, everybody, welcome. We're sorry that we haven't been here, but Jake and I had a huge freaking blowout fight.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Hawaii. He wanted to go to Peru. Yeah. And I was like, I don't have shoes for Peru. I have shoes.
Dude, everyone goes to Hawaii, though. That's what I was telling you, dude. Everyone goes to Hawaii.
Everybody goes to Hawaii.
Peru is different. You know?
I was like, okay, well then fine, we won't go to Hawaii, we'll go to Maui. And you were like, it's just the other island, you know me, boy. I'm not going over there to be an island boy with an island. That's what Jake said to me. So we had this big huge fallout. Boy. And I pushed him. He pushed me. I slapped him. He punched me.
I looked at him. And I looked at you.
So we're a little giddy because we haven't been together. I wanted to do this show in my studio, but Jake just can't seem to avoid COVID.
That's true.
At all costs. And I'm like, you know, and Jake knows the requirement of doing the show in the studio is that we greet, we shake hands, we hug, we mouth kiss, and then we go and we do the show.
Yeah.
Can't do that with, you know, the new COVID protocol and everything else. But nevertheless, it is not my fault that we weren't here for the last 2 weeks. It's all Jake's fault and his inability to want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's totally my fault. 100% my fault. Yeah,
he
dude,
was upset about not going to Hawaii, he shaved his head.
I did. We haven't done a show since I shaved my head.
Yeah, because you were angry, you were mad, you were furious.
Oh, well, I shaved my head. That's the thing that happened.
He shaved his head, but not his balls. Tried to talk him into that too. Again, punched me.
The balls need to grow out a little longer. I like to donate my hair. So the ball needs to get a little longer.
There's just some little bald-headed kid in Uganda right now just waiting for your sack hair.
Oh, man.
That's not okay.
Ever since Joe Biden's like, hey, you know, masks, you can take them or leave them, you know. I've been living it up, dude.
He hasn't said that. There's still a federal mask mandate at least on planes until
that is State of the Union.
2 days after my birthday, there's still federal funded mass transit, like planes, trains, and automobiles are still requiring masks. There's still a mask mandate.
Sure, there's certain
right
places.
Now until 2 days after my birthday. As I mentioned it again.
But at the State of the Union, he's like, no, things are, yeah, you take it or leave it.
Well, I think he probably did that because he was placating to his Republicans. Jake, I mentioned something, and I'm not going to get off mask because I want to get back on the mask. What are you shaking your head for? What'd I do? Were you going
I was going to tell you what I've done.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll get back to it. No, I'll get back to it.
Go ahead.
Jake. 3 words. Hawaii.
That's 1 word.
No, go ahead. I can transition somewhere else. That's 3 words.
No, what's in Hawaii?
Nothing. I totally forgot where I was gonna go now because it was like you threw me off.
No, but ever since Joe Biden.
Oh fuck! Well, ever since Uncle Joe just.
Now I went to a concert at a venue called the Van Buren.
You didn't.
I don't know if you've heard of this. I wore a mask. No one else was, but I definitely wore a mask. But it was super sold out. That was 2 weeks ago. I didn't catch COVID. So how about that?
Because you had on a mask, dumb fuck.
Maybe.
I wonder how many other people. You didn't have on a mask. See, this is why I will never be able to be around you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to live my life, though, dude. It's been like 3 years.
No, you're not going to live. Your life will be lived behind a mask, and you'll like it.
That's fine. I wear a mask. I always wear a mask.
You don't. You just told me that you went hoeing on Van Buren and you didn't have a mask on.
Well, that's different. You can't hoe with a mask on.
Yes, you can. Just cut a little hole out in the middle like I do.
That's how I make my living, though, Cory. Okay.
I know. No, I looked at my credit card.
The Van Buren's like a really cool spot, though. It's
don't they require? Did they require vaccine? Are they still requiring vaccination proof?
They did require vaccine proof.
Yeah, so you can go in there unmasked if you.
Yeah, it was a packed show though, like all
shoulder
the way
to shoulder, like old times.
Oh yeah, it was nice. It was actually very nice. Like it was, I wept a few tears because I was like, damn, we're back. It was actually kind of emotional for me.
Is it weird that I get a little anxiety that I see that now? Like I'm starting to see new commercials that are clearly filmed, a few months ago, and people are buddy, chummy, closer. I work at an arena and I go in there, and I will say this proudly that the Talking Stick Resort Arena during an NBA game the crowd is still about, I'd say about 50% masked and 50% unmasked. I noticed recently that people looking at me weird for having a mask on has stopped. It's just a dude with a mask on.
Yeah, it's just normal now. Like,
yeah, it just kind of feels normal, and people still give you, according to my experience, give you your space. When people see me that I have a mask on, then they don't. I've noticed that people, take one step back. I mean, it's not always 6 feet, but it's always just like one step back, from like, okay, let's just give him some space. He's still working through it. You know what I mean? But it does give me a little anxiety to see that happening.
You also smell bad though. So
yeah, that whole ragu and chitlins smell that I have going on is pretty disturbing to people with nostrils. They couldn't smell it before because of the mask. So if you don't want to smell my ragu and chitlin's ass, put your mask back on, motherfucker.
That's right.
But I get a little anxiety just seeing that things are a little back to where they used to be, like the crowds, and there not being a big outbreak from the crowds. I will say this, it's probably going to take me a little bit of time before I'm like back into that. Because the other day I was thinking, okay, yeah, look, the numbers are looking good. I'm looking at the dashboards and they're where they're supposed to be. But you know what? A small, still voice inside of me said, we've been here before and we fucked it up. You know what I mean? And
I get that.
Could this be the fact that now we had that big, huge explosion in December, that there is so many antibodies out there now? We won't see any more mutations. People aren't passing it to each other much anymore because damn near the entire population, except for the elite 1% that hasn't gotten this thing, maybe it's over. Maybe we're done. That's where the numbers look like. I mean, even the CDC and the Arizona Department of Health are only reporting numbers once a week now on Wednesday because the numbers are just so low. We're averaging less than 1,000 cases per day, which in reality, if we think about the previous numbers, that's only about 50% of the actual cases. You know what I mean? Because like before, when we were reporting 20,000 cases in a day, the actual number of people that had COVID was probably more close to 40,000, according to the research that was done by ASU last year by testing water. A lot of people that have it, half the people that have it get tested and are found to have it. So you have to literally double the number that you see. But even if we double the number that we see, we're still in, the low tens of thousands a week, compared to the 7.8 million million person residency here in Arizona, or now probably close to 10, because the city is fucking exploded and it's driving me insane. But I don't know. I get a little anxiety seeing the normal, you know what I mean? But there's a part of me that also wants to get back into the normal, like going to the food trucks, going to restaurants, and and shit like that. I will say this. I did do one thing the other day when I was at work. The arena had just barely opened, so it was probably about 10% capacity or 10% of, 17,000 seats that were full, and no one was around me within at least 20 feet. I had a pizza from the concession stand and took my mask off and I ate my pizza.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at, and why I felt comfortable going to that show is because like the numbers are so low, they continue to drop, and like
the transfer rate is what the number that you really want to look at, and our transfer rate right now is 1 in 10, when before it was like 8 and 10.
Right,
it's very low.
And I think you're right. I think like everyone got it in December and January, and everyone who didn't get it was vaccinated, triple vaxxed, hopefully. Which I think helped. And we'll see, like, it could be in a few months, those people who got COVID, they lose their immunity and now it boosts back up. But I was taking advantage of the moment, I guess. I'm like, this looks good.
I'm not going to shit on you for taking advantage of the moment, because a small part of me wants to do that too. I'm just not where you are. You've been way more comfortable through this whole thing than I have. I mean, I'm OCD,
and I've been pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, so if you're pretty uncomfortable, then that means I'm like ready to fucking build a bunker and stay in it for the next 500-600 years.
I'll be honest with you, dude. When I was on my way to that concert, I was having a mini panic attack. Not so much about the COVID thing, but just being around that many people in general.
But
I was just sort of like.
But didn't you go see a concert at Talking Stick Arena?
It was a little different, because that one was like, it was like an arena show, so like you're kind of separated and you're like in these seats. This was like you're in a pit and it's all standing room, and everyone's shoulder to shoulder, standing next to each other, breathing all over each other. You know what I mean?
I mean, in an arena, you have all of 1.5 inches of arm space between each other. And in the pit,
the one I went to was in Vegas, and like there was no one really around us. They had it all spread out. And like,
Vegas has lifted their mask mandate as well.
Yeah, I knew they would. They'd be one of the first for sure.
Sidebar:
they want people to smoke.
Oh, of course, yeah, that doesn't spread COVID. When you were in the pit, sidebar: when you were in the pit on Van Buren, has anyone ever grabbed you when you're in the pit? Have you ever like gotten goose or humped?
Like in a sexual way?
Yeah. Not knowingly, not like somebody, not that someone just came up to you and looked you dead in the eyes like I did and just honked you. But have you ever just like been mysteriously honked or goose?
Sure. In like my younger days, I don't really. So like when I used to go to concerts, I used to go to like metal shows where you'd get in like mosh pits and like thrash around and stuff. I don't really do that anymore. First of all, I don't listen to a lot of metal music anymore. And like the show I went to, it was for a band called Manchester Orchestra, which is like this really chill, like dad vibe kind. They're really good. They did all the music to Swiss Army Man, which is a great movie. When I was in the moshing days, maybe not intentionally.
Oh, okay.
Like you'll be thrashed into and someone will like grab your nuts on accident or something. Like just try not to fall, But no, I've never been like intentionally goosed by someone. I don't think.
Well, there's a difference.
I've intentionally goosed an artist. I saw this band called Bless the Fall. They're from Arizona. They're kind of like hometown heroes. And the singer like jumped out on the crowd, and I sort of like grabbed his ass, and he sort of like looked at me and like winked at me. It was nice. Ooh. It's a nice moment.
Yeah. I would imagine if I was ever in a mosh pit, I would be honking and goosing. No one would know. Because everybody's just moshing. No one would know. So I would just imagine that it's probably something that happens often when guys like.
There's a certain level of respect though when you're in those pits. I think there is, like especially in like mosh pits. If you fall down, there's usually someone there grabbing you, pulling you back up. Like there's always.
I thought if you fall down in a mosh pit, you're dead.
No. If you're at a good show, like there's always that one big dude that's like way too big to be in the pit, and he'll be there. He'll like grab you, pick you up.
That's me.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm totally honking and goosing if I ever do a mosh pit. Probably
I think
never will.
Probably back in the 90s, things
you
were
weren't
a bit
alive
worse.
in the 90s.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I never experienced any of that shit. Like, you could look back at like Woodstock '99 and like how much of a shit show that was, and the amount of like sexual assault that happened at that show. And
but
I'm sure that was kind of common back then. But I think things have really calmed down.
No, hopefully. I can get away with it. How would they know? In the words of TikTok, they'll never know. How would they know? They'll never know. They're gonna know. Cool. No, how would they know?
Don't do it. Have some respect for your fellow human. Okay?
Hell no. I'm in a mosh pit, or if I'm in a pit with a whole lot of people and they're dancing around and gyrating and drinking, I'm honking and goosing. How are they gonna know?
That's there not okay, Cory.
Everybody there has two hands. They can't go around and fingerprint everybody's hand to the mark left on their ass. I'm honking and goosing, bruh. Don't put me in a pit. That. I'm honking and Jake, come over now with 5 masks on because you have COVID, and let's mosh pit in my living room. And I'm honking and goosing, bro. I'm telling you that right now. I'm honking and goosing.
Is what, maybe you should stay in your house.
Maybe I should. It's probably better. Probably better for my criminal history. It's probably safer for people out there. I mean, just if you ever hear of a concert, and a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, that was a really cool concert, but somebody kept honking and goosing me, I was there.
Yeah, they call it the goosler. That's you.
But I would be a little, I get a little anxiety seeing it and stuff like that. But the anxiety for me, I think it's because it's so new. I mean, we're just a couple of weeks into these numbers, and I don't want to fall into a false sense of security like we've done before when our wonderful government fucked up and told everybody who got vaccinated that they could remove their mask. I thought that was the worst thing ever.
I think it was intentional, though. They wanted that herd immunity, I think.
You know what? And I think what we're probably experiencing right now is that herd immunity. Because even that other variant,
it worked in a sixth sense.
Yeah, even that variant that they were kind of watching, the Omicron 2.0 48966XX5, that they were watching for a while, that kind of fizzled. Because you have to realize is that right now, with 98% of the population having some level of antibodies, you can't spread it when you have, antibodies right now. So unless there's just that 1% of person that didn't catch it, that just happens to catch it with no antibodies, and they go around goosing and honking, then we're going to have another flare back up. But I don't know. It's still new to me. I'm still masking. I'm still N95 masking, especially.
And that's fair.
Especially
you can do that all your life if you want.
Yeah, in big environments, you know what I mean? But I had a buddy of mine that came by and borrowed some car lifts that I had before, and no mask, but I also know that, he's fully vaccinated.
Here's our first step, Cory. This is where you need to start, okay?
Okay.
Me and you.
I'm done. I'm in. That's all. Just stop right there. Just stop right there. I can die happy now. That's all I wanted to hear. Just don't ruin it. You're going to ruin it.
Let's go fucking get some dinner sometime.
Okay, let's just
go to a restaurant. Just feel it out.
Okay, let's end that sentence with let's go fucking, and the rest of that we'll just ignore. We don't need the rest of that shit.
Just try it out, though. Just let's just go to a restaurant sometime.
I can't. You know what? The thing is that what this thing has done to me, I was already OCD. I'm already a germaphobe. Now what it has done is that it has magnified everything. And the worst thing that I saw throughout this whole pandemic was a little illustration of the paint. You remember the paint illustration? Okay, there was an illustration of paint when they were explaining how COVID spread on surfaces. And they put a little daub of incandescent colored paint, basically naked to the eye and only revealed under ultraviolet light. And they put one daub on a handle at a buffet restaurant, and they filled the restaurant with people, and hours went by, and it was a controlled test. Hours went by, and then after that one little dab, that one little spot, millimeters of a spot of paint that they put on that one handle, after
but we
an
know,
hour, I know, but after
we know
an hour
now
or
that's
two,
not how COVID spreads.
But what we know now is that COVID doesn't spread. We know the timing of spreads.
It's an aerosol thing.
It is an aerosol thing, but COVID also survives.
It dies pretty quickly on contact of things.
Not necessarily.
That is true.
It dies quicker than it does in the air. However, there's still, depending on how, and you don't know how long that spore could have been placed on there or landed on there. But what I was saying is that illustration of that little daub of paint, incandescent paint, after an hour, they shut the lights off and turned on the UV lights, and everything was covered in incandescent paint at the
sure.
So that's what fucked me up real bad. I should have never watched that, because now
yeah, but that's not how COVID spreads.
But COVID does spread on surfaces. It has a shorter lifespan.
It doesn't spread through surfaces.
It does spread on surfaces, my friend. It does. That was clinically proven. It does spread on surfaces. Like plastic is like a day. Cotton is like. And here's the thing: can you catch it from surfaces? Odds are probably, and that's the reason why they were telling you to always wash your hands, because your hands came in contact with those surfaces, and then your hands came in contact with your eyes, nose, or mouth, and then that's how the virus was transferred from a surface. Yes, cardboard has a different expiration on how long it can live on it. Plastic has a different expiration on how it can live on it. There were tests and studies done on how long COVID survived on surfaces, and it can survive on surfaces. There was even a report at one time that COVID can survive for 3 hours on the ground.
So I'm looking at it, and yes, it does survive on surfaces, but it's super like not the main way. It's
definitely no. I agree with you. It's not the main way. The thing is that the science behind it is that if you have a surface that has COVID, you touch it with your hands, and then your hands go and touch your eyes, nose, or mouth. That's the transfer process. That's why they push so much about washing your hands for 20 seconds.
My point, though, Cory, is that if you want to start getting back out there, a good place to start is a restaurant. Just like go to a restaurant.
Outside eating.
Okay, let's go to an outside restaurant.
With nobody around.
Oh my God. But like that's part of the experience. Like the numbers are lower. Like this is the point. This is why we
Jake, I will say I want to give it some more time personally.
Yeah. So my thought process was, right, I know everyone was blaming the huge outbreak in January on Christmas and New Year's and stuff. I was blaming it on something else. I was blaming it 100% on Spider-Man No Way Home.
Which is gosh.
The highest grossing movie of all time, pretty much, in America at least.
Yeah.
And so I was blaming it on that. Everyone's in these theaters, sitting next to each other, breathing all over each other. So my real test, the Batman came out last weekend, okay? And the Batman's making huge numbers. Not Spider-Man numbers, but huge numbers. We'll see. If there's a huge outbreak after the Batman,
it's Batman's fault.
It's Batman's fault, and also COVID's back. If there's not a huge outbreak after Batman, I think we're good for a little bit.
How if it comes back, now that Hawaii was the last state to lift their mask mandate, and it was so funny how cute our governor douche nozzle was like, our mask mandates. I'm like, motherfucker, you never had a mask mandate. So what the fuck are you lifting? You're lifting air. You're lifting nothing. The same as what? Never mind. If it does come back, how do we go? Because nobody wanted to do what was needed to get to where we are now before. So if it does come back, are people going to be willing to do it again? There's still an open spot on people's vaccination cards.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to continue to be vaccinated every year, just like the flu. But like, yeah, I don't think we'll do another lockdown for COVID.
No, I don't think another lockdown.
I think it'll be up to the people. I think CDC will put out their suggestions or whatever, and it's going to be up to the people to decide.
Now, here's what's interesting about the CDC that you just mentioned. All those motherfuckers that didn't want to listen to the CDC are now all of a sudden listening to the CDC because the CDC has said something that they wanted to hear. Mask mandate. Mm-hmm. Taking down the mask. Setting the dashboard that if you are at this level, it's okay to remove your mask. If you're at the a red or a yellow or a green, which Arizona or Maricopa County, where we're in, is currently in yellow status, the CDC recommends that you can unmask in public places. It's so funny that the people that didn't want to listen to the CDC when they were telling you get vaccinated, wear a mask, wear an N95 mask, wash your hands for 20 seconds. Oh, no, that's the CDC and the government trying to control me and blah, blah, blah. But now that the CDC has said something that they wanted to hear, you can remove your mask if you're in this certain gating status. Now the CDC is the word of God. What a fucking Hippocratic, whatever the fuck the word is. I'm so frustrated. I don't even know what the word is. What bullshit. Now that they've said something that they wanted to hear, now the CDC is, oh yeah, I stand behind them. I'm writing checks and everything. They've handled this as great as possible and all that they're telling you what, they're finally saying something that you've been wanting to hear. But when they were telling you shit that was based in science, these same motherfuckers didn't want to hear this. That's frustrating and aggravating to me.
You know what's hilarious is, and this comes right at the cusp of the trucker rally, the trucker protest.
Yeah,
where they're protesting against mandates, as our country is like, yeah, we're kind of thinking it's time to slow down the mandates. Yeah. And they're like, it's like, what are you guys protesting? We had mandates because there was a pandemic, and now the pandemic's slowing down. They're getting rid of the mandates. This is how it works, you fucking idiots, man.
Did you see how Canada handled that, though? You see how Canada handled that trucker protest? They gave them a period of time to move those trucks. And when they didn't move those trucks in that period of time, Canada, in all their niceness, came in there, arrested the people, and towed the trucks out of the way. There wasn't a riot. There wasn't gunfire. None of that happened. Nothing. I'm sure there was some frustration with it, but it wasn't some big catastrophic fucking event for Canada's law enforcement to step in and open the roads back up.
I will say there were some questionable things that happened in Canada, that the way they handled it. I know they talked about potentially like affecting their bank accounts and stuff. It's like that's maybe taking a step too far.
Yeah, there were some things that were a little,
Listen, I don't agree with the truckers, but like, let's not fuck with anyone's banks, okay? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, we're gonna let gas prices do that. The thing is that I just peeped that out, that when they ended that protest, though it didn't end the way that the truckers originally probably saw it ending, when Canada's law enforcement stepped in, it wasn't some big, huge fucking blow up of a situation where gunfire and Molotov cocktails are being thrown through the air. That's one thing that I didn't. There were some crazy ideas, I will give you that. But it was interesting how it, and then when they tried to start it up here, America was like, yeah, it's over. Yeah, COVID ended soon as Putin started dropping bombs. Very interesting.
Yeah, pretty convenient. But I don't think there's any correlation there.
No, there's not. That's just been the running joke.
It's just,
I personally will be a masker. I'm personally happy that now N95 masks on Amazon are back down to reasonable prices. Dude.
Sense.
I bought a box of N95 masks, 30 of them before the Omicron variant, and I paid $12 for 30 N95 masks. Right when the Omicron variant started to make itself prevalent, I went back into my Amazon account where you can select buy again, And that same box of masks, that same box of 30 masks was $75. I went and looked at it just yesterday. It's not back down to $12, but it's down to $19 now. And so I went ahead and ordered 4 boxes. And number one, I always had N95 mask in stock because I'm allergic to grass. So when I do my yard, I always wear an N95 mask no matter what, or if I'm spray painting, Cory and Jake Forever on the side of a building, I wear an N95 mask because I don't want to inhale paint fumes. But I do take my N95 mask off to smoke my weed and my cigarettes.
Is it wrong that I've been wearing the same surgical mask the entire?
You are so This is why we can't be in the same room together. It was
blue
yet.
when we started. Now it's just a solid brown color.
Brown and metal chunks in there from your braces. Jake, you disgusting little fart.
No, I've got 2 boxes in the back seat of my car just full of masks, and I'll just,
I do too. Speaking of that real quick.
I had to clarify that I'm not actually a nasty fuck.
You had a panic attack driving to Van Buren to hoe up, and I'm sorry that I missed you that night, but man, I really had like $100 bill. We were going to go all the way. Mm-hmm. I was at work at the arena, and my mask started itching. The arena wasn't open yet. My mask started itching, so I pulled my mask. I tried to do what skinny people do and pull the mask down so that it's on their chin. I did that, and my big fat face busted the freaking strap on the mask. And
I've done that a lot.
Passed out. I was like, oh shit. I was looking at my Apple Watch, and I'm like, do I have time to drive home and get another mask and get back for the game? I'm gonna lose my parking space.
You don't bring backups, dude?
I had a backup. I had a backup, not a backup N95. I do now, but I didn't have a backup N95. I had a backup double mask. Remember when they were telling us a double mask with the surgical mask under and then the cloth mask on top? I had that as a backup, and I had to go with that for the night. I freaking flipped out. And now, if you saw me outside, you're just a person walking by. You were like, oh, that's just a camera guy setting up his camera. But inside, my brain was going crazy because I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? These freaking coughing Kathy cheerers are going to be in here screaming for Devin Booker at any moment now, and I don't have a mask. I was freaked out, dude.
Yeah, if I go anywhere... If I go anywhere, I've got 2 extra masks in my pocket ready to go.
I do now too. I have an N95. I've always had surgical mask in my glove box
right here on me, baby.
I don't have any right near me because this is where I am in my house. It's a sanctified area. Only the few and the naked come into this area. But I have now an N95 mask in my headset bag. I have an N95 mask in my glove box, and then also in my glove box I have at least probably about 10 surgical masks. And believe it or not, I've been pumping gas in the middle of the pandemic several times, and homeless kids have come up to me because my area, I don't know why, we have a lot of young homeless people. Homeless kids will come up to me asking for money, and they don't have a mask on, and I will ask them, do you have a mask? And 9 out of 10 times they've always said that theirs broke or whatever, so I just go to my glove box and I give them one of the masks. That's mainly why I carry the surgical mask, is to hand them out to people that didn't. And there was one kid that was like, I remember going to QT, and it was a one time that I went into QT, and there was a kid that was outside, and this was when they were really on the mask mandate, and they wouldn't let you in the store without a mask on. There was this kid that was like, I just want to go in there and get a taquito, and I can't because they don't have a mask. And I was getting out of my car, walked to the door, and the kid was like, can you buy me a taquito? And he had like, a couple of bucks in his hands. And I'm like, why can't you go in? He's like, I don't have a mask. I happen to have a surgical mask in my car, and I gave him a surgical mask, and he was able to go in there and get a little taquito.
That's nice.
So I now have backup masks because of backup N95 masks that I carry with me.
That is a thing that annoyed the shit out of me during the pandemic. Is like, if you're gonna have businesses mandate masks, they should have some places did this where they had masks where you could grab a mask. Every place should have done that, where it's like, hey, you need to wear a mask. Here's a mask. you know?
Most of the, I agree with you. I've only heard of places that didn't have masks available for people that had mask mandates. But every place that I've gone that had a mask requirement was handing out masks. And DT on Fat Guy Radio Show,
apparently.
Actually, yeah, except for, the gas station. But DT on the show last year joked that he's never bought any masks because he would just go to places that had mask mandates and just start collecting masks and not even go in the store, just get the free mask. And
I'd be lying if I said I didn't do that a few times, for sure.
And bounce. And I was like, oh, you're so poor. But I agree with you. I think that should have been an easier way, but then you still have people that refuse. I will say this, Talking Stick Resort Arena, when you go to a Suns game, they still hand out masks, or they offer mask at the door.
Isn't it called the Footprint Center now?
Oh, what is it? Yeah, Footprint. I was thinking it's Footprint because it always smells like feet in there. But now when you go to the Footprint Center, they still offer masks. They don't require you to take it, but they offer it. And you can always tell the asshole that took it just because they wanted to, because they walk into the bowl and the mask is just, hanging off their ear, hasn't even been opened or fanned up. Or one guy just had the mask just like on and it wasn't even fanned up. It wasn't even doing anything. But legally he was wearing the mask. Now those signs are
something, right? It's like better than nothing.
He doesn't come within 6 feet of me because I measured around my camera. The nearest fan is 6 feet away.
Yeah.
Because I have my own little section.
I wanted to mention this too. I've done a couple other things since, Biden said it's okay. Papa Joe. I went to my favorite arcade that I haven't been able to go to for the past 3 years.
You're insane. You are absolutely insane.
Bro, I love this arcade. It's got every pinball machine you could ever need. When you feel comfortable, you gotta go with me sometime. You would absolutely love it. It's such a cool place. I know that is definitely coming out of your comfort zone because you're like touching things, but and there's like kids around or whatever. But I absolutely love that place. Look up Starfighters Arcade, anyone who's listening to this. And if you're in Arizona, definitely head out to Starfighters because it is a really, really awesome place. It's just like this dude's private collection, right? He's just been collecting arcades and pinball machines.
Like stand-up big wood arcade with, CRT screens.
Yeah, and like big-ass pinball machines. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just this
Miss Pac-Man.
He's got Miss Pac-Man. He's got Joust. My favorite is Tapper. I'm really good at Tapper.
Here's the holy grail of arcade machines. Does he have Oregon Trail and arcade?
I think there is an Oregon Trail there. Yeah.
The fuck? I'm in. Not yet, but I'm in.
Yeah. They've got DDR. They've got like you remember
DDR. What does his sexual escapades have to do with video games?
Dance Dance Revolution. The one where you like stuff. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got like the shooty arcades there, the ones where you use like the little gun. Yeah, so cool. And then just a ton of pinball machines. But this guy, just started this private collection. I think it's him and maybe another person. And he's like, well, I've collected all these things. He just bought an office space. Like it's like in the middle of this like office space. Yeah. And he just has this whole collection in there. And every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he opens it up to the public. You spend $10 to go in, and you can be in there for like 4 hours, and it's an awesome experience. Everything's free to play once you spend the $10, and he just likes to show off his collection of stuff.
Sounds amazing.
It's really awesome.
It brings me back to my childhood because I remember when Castles and Coasters first opened.
Castles and Coasters still has some really cool arcades upstairs.
And they had the big arcades. It used to be 2 levels. Is there still 2 levels of just arcades?
So the bottom level is the more modern stuff, and then upstairs is the older arcade
stuff. The vintage stuff. Yeah, I remember that. And I mean, I remember playing the Atari, and you had the console was the controller was more arcade style with the knobs and buttons and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember that, man. I haven't played an arcade machine. I've even actually looked into buying an arcade machine for my home because you can get them for your house now. You know what I mean? Just the nostalgic ones, the big wood CRT TVs.
what you could do, what I really want to do. So like there's a modern sort of arcade. It's not a real arcade, but you can make it look like an arcade and then put like a little tiny like computer in there. And then it holds like hundreds of arcade games.
When Nintendo came out with that little mini Nintendo thing with the vintage games on it, I saw a lot of people online doing that, building their own big arcade housing unit, and then just
they're called Raspberry Pis.
Yeah, and just having that Nintendo thing in there, and they were able to.
That's what I would do in my house. It's just like, so then you have like an endless supply of just like vintage games you could play.
That would be so cool. But I want to see them on CRT bubble 8-bit.
Well, you could connect them. You could still connect it to a CRT TV if you wanted to.
But they don't have the 8-bit graphics where Mario's arm is like 2 pixels.
No, yeah, totally, yeah. You could set it up where it comes out as composite to a CRT. You could do that.
Sure. It sounds very interesting. Arcades were part of my childhood, so that sounds amazing. And
maybe next year, hopefully maybe next year.
Maybe next year. I will say this. I am
maybe the end of the year. Who knows?
Maybe you know what? There's some things in the works that life may be back to normal for me in a while, but nevertheless,
I think the real test is going to be this summer around 4th of July. Like we'll see how the COVID numbers are then.
Yeah, real test is going to be once Never mind. I'm not going to finish that joke.
When we go to war.
Jesus.
It's happening. It's happening.
Don't get me started with that. And then we only have a few minutes left. I watched a movie.
Oh, okay.
An old movie. I hacked into your Hobo Max.
Hobo.
Not Hobo Go.
Yeah.
I told Jake I needed his Hobo Go, and he beat me and said it's Hobo Max, bitch. I was like, sorry.
Yeah, it used to be Go, but it's Max now. It's a new.
So I watched a movie that I haven't seen in a while, or I haven't seen at all, and I think it came out in 2000 and something. Ocean's 11. Not a new movie,
right?
Why did I watch Ocean's 11? Jake, I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, why'd you watch it?
Please guess why I watched Ocean's 11.
Just because Brad Pitt is fucking hot?
No.
Oh. No. George Clooney's fucking hot?
This is going to be so embarrassing for me.
What's up?
Because of GTA No Pixel server streaming, the casino heist was... Jake's look on his face. The casino heist that was modded into the No Pixel server was modeled after Ocean's 11, so they said. And a lot of the streamers and the chat of these streamers were saying it was modeled after Ocean's 11, and so I wanted to see Ocean's 11 and compare the two. There were two things out of the entire movie that was in the GTA casino heist that I could tie to Ocean's 11. Outside of like it being a casino heist, outside of it taking multiple people with doing different duties in order to get into the casino and all this other stuff. But the only two things that were literally from the movie that was in the design of the casino heist was the rappelling down an elevator shaft and lasers. Other than that, there wasn't much tie-in. I enjoyed the movie.
Is Ocean's 11 the one where they put the bendy guy into a briefcase and they sneak him into?
They put the bendy guy into one of those rolling money carts, and then he has to get out and he has to flip onto a shelf to avoid the lasers in the vault.
Yeah. Those all three of those movies kind of blend together to me.
Yeah, I guess there's multiple ones. I've never seen any of them.
Yeah, 11, 12, and 13. Yeah,
I got a little lost.
Now there's Ocean's 8 as well. The reboot with the women.
I also got a little lost when I thought that the movie that they were telling something that was about to happen, but then in the movie they showed it actually happening while they were talking about something that was about to happen. I was a little confused on that. It took me a while. I had to rewind a couple of parts.
That's like the whole movie where it's like, here's how we're going to do it. And they explain the plan, and then it shows the plan as they're explaining the plan. That's the classic Ocean's 11 shit, dude. It's awesome.
Like I said, I've never seen it before, but then I was totally mind fucked in a good way when they realized that, and this isn't a spoiler alert, the movie's been out for 100 years. I was really mind fucked in a good way when the video that they were routing to the security room was actual video from their rebuild practice vault. And they determined that by the carpet not having the Bellagio logo on it. So I walked away like wondering, well, when did they actually rob the damn casino then? Because
we should go to Vegas.
No,
rob a casino.
Hell no. And then the van. So I watched it. I watched Ocean's 11, all because of the bank heist in GTA 5 on the No Pixel server. That's the only reason why I watched it.
And it was all for naught.
And it was all for naught. It was the same type of thing, but. Like, I would have thought that maybe they should have put laser. And see, the thing is that the lasers in the first GTA moddable heist, the lasers were in the elevator shaft. And when the characters in the game went down the elevator shaft, the lasers alerted SWAT. But when SWAT arrived, and this was, the streamers talked about it, this was built wrong. Because when SWAT arrived, no crime had been committed because the characters never actually entered the vault. There was another step to get into the vault. So the mods, the developers, the devs went back in and eliminated SWAT being alerted from the lasers. SWAT now is alerted once the vault door is broken because then a crime has actually been committed.
I mean, isn't breaking into a place where there's lasers, isn't that trespassing?
Not necessarily in the casino.
Why? Why would there be lasers then?
I don't know, but the characters were able to argue that offline. The streamers were able to argue that offline, and the developers agree that because every other heist on the server alerts police once money has been taken into a character has taken money. You know, like when you break open a vault door at one of the bank heists, as soon as you start to hack into that vault, the police are alerted. In the casino heist, there was no hacking that had been done to the vault yet. SWAT was being alerted by the lasers. Now, here's another thing that the people that play SWAT characters in No Pixel, they've given up on the vault because in order for SWAT to access the people robbing the vault, they have to come down the same elevator shaft. So the people robbing the vault just stage about 2 or 3 guys out with AK-47s, and they just blast SWAT as they come all down the ladder. And then once SWAT is dead, there's only so many SWAT members, and they made it on the server that it's only SWAT characters that can come into the vault, or SWAT that can come into the casino. Regular city police can't access the casino. It's so weird how they rolled it out. So the casino has been successfully robbed every time because all they have to do is have 3 guys inside the vault doing the vault, 2 guys outside in the elevator shaft, and they can set cameras up now in the game.
They've succeeded at stealing from the casino
multiple times. They've succeeded so much.
Last time we talked, they were still trying to figure it out.
They were still trying to figure out the hack into the vault.
But now they figured it out.
And now they have figured out the hack into the vault. They figured out the double hack into the vault because you hack the vault, you get in, SWAT arrives, they try to come in blazing, but you blast them off the ladder. And then once you've eliminated all the SWAT, you can go back into the vault, and there's a second hack that you can do to get more of the vault doors or more of the vault containers to open so you can get more money out of it. And the max payout for the vault heist is $8 million. And these guys have gone back. They go in once a week to rob it, and SWAT responds every time, and SWAT has been obliterated. And now what happens is that the characters that are playing SWAT, they phase out. What that basically means, and No Pixel has allowed this, that once they're dead in the vault, because the guys that are robbing the vault are not going to call an ambulance to get the SWAT people revived. Once they're dead in the vault, the characters, the people that are playing it, have to empty their pockets, leave it on the ground, and then they can phase out, basically meaning they can quit the game and go back in. But they have to leave everything in their pocket. So then what happens is that the characters that are robbing the vault run around and see all these little indicators on the ground that are marked up with SWAT loot. So that's the only way that, because if not, those people that are playing those characters are just going to be lying on the bottom of the vault elevator shaft until those guys decide to leave, and they're never going to send anybody in there to help them, because the thieves and criminals in No Pixel are not going to do anything to help or revive SWAT, but they get obliterated every time. There's no way to defend the vault heist in the No Pixel server. Okay, I've said too much. But anyway, I watched Ocean's 11 because of No Pixel, and we're out of time, and I apologize.
I know we're coming to the end of the show, but I need to bring up one more thing, and it's all roads lead to this, and not to McDonald's.
More time with your face, yes.
I did one more thing, so I went to that show, that concert. I went to the arcade, and I went and saw the Harlem Globetrotters
at Gila River Casino.
It was at whatever the hockey stadium is.
Gila River.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It used to be called jobbing.com arena.
Yeah.
But,
my buddy, a couple of camera buddies of mine worked that show. It's a fun show, dude.
It was so weird.
It's silly. It's very, very silly.
It's silly. They've really...
Why would you go to see the Harlem? You must have gotten free tickets because you're not a big basketball person.
Right. I mean, it was I was still impressed, even as like not a huge basketball guy. You watch that and you're like, damn, how do they do that shit? No, it was through work. It was a work thing, you know.
Was it a free ticket thing?
Yeah, it was a work thing. Okay. I had to, but
it's funnier. The Harlem Globetrotters are funnier if you're a basketball fan because of the rules that they're breaking and the shit that they're doing that is not allowed in any type of professional basketball game. But the pageantry,
they don't even try to make it look real though. Like
not anymore. But the pageantry,
I don't think they ever did. I think it was
no. They always play the Washington Generals.
We'll get them next time though. We'll get them next time.
Did they do the whole swait and bait and switch with the bucket gag, where they had one bucket that had water in it, and a ref threw it at a player, and then the player went and got a bucket and was going to throw it at the ref, and the ref was standing in front of the fans, and when the player threw the bucket, it wasn't water, it was confetti. Do they still do that bit?
No.
Oh.
No. It seems like they've really fallen from grace a little bit. Like they're not as big as they once were.
How was the crowd?
So the crowd was very small. The entire and it makes sense. I feel like Harlem Globetrotters was always like this, but they blacked off the entire top part of the arena or whatever. No one on the sides.
Oh no.
It was just open. You could just walk down there and go talk to the players if you wanted after the show.
Yeah, they have an interaction segment of their show, but the Harlem Globetrotters back in the day used to sell out. This is how old I am. The Veterans Memorial Coliseum. That's where I first saw the Harlem Globetrotters. That was
not the case at all. There were maybe 300 people there.
Wow.
And
that probably explains why they didn't go to Footprint.
Yeah, they had their own shitty basketball court, and they had a scoreboard on top of the basketball hoops that were broken and didn't work, and they couldn't fix it, and they were trying to fix it, but the scoreboard just said 0 the whole time.
No.
they had their own like shitty sound system. They didn't even use the sound system of the arena. They just had these like sticks and like some subs.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was an interesting experience. It was really cool though. The kids were like so excited. Like all the kids that were there, they were so excited, and yeah, it was cool.
Dude, I've been to so many Harlem Globetrotter shows when I was a young warthog. It's sad to hear that they've like fallen off. They would sell out the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, and then when America West Arena was built, now the Footprint Center, I saw them there several times, and they sold out Lower Bowl, about 90% of Lower Bowl. They never went, a complete absolute sellout where they filled, upper level. But that's really sad that they're now jobbing
even,
since like 10,000 people, I think.
Even their like merch table was down on the floor, so like you had to just walk out onto the floor to get the merch and stuff. And that's sad. Really weird, but it was cool. The guys were very charismatic and like, still very impressive. There was one dude who like did flips and stuff while he was like dribbling. It was pretty cool.
I think there's only like 3 original Harlem Globetrotter players that are still alive. I think all the rest of them are dead.
They're all dead.
They're all dead. So it's a whole new millennial.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Harlem Globetrotters themselves started in the 1920s, I guess. So yeah, they're all dead. But
but Curly was still
Curly
alive.
was not an original, but he is the one that like made it famous.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Curly died in 2020.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think he was one of the last of like the big 80s guys.
Not the original ones, but the guys when it really hit the main market. Like the Curly days, Yeah. That's a little heartbreaking.
They did a big tribute to Curly in the middle of the show.
That's a little heartbreaking that the show has fallen off. I mean, when they come back to Arizona, because they always come through, what is their next venue that they're going to play? What, a high school gymnasium?
That's what it felt like. It really felt like this was like a high school gymnasium. Like
as a fan, that's heartbreaking.
It feels like that. It's like, hey, Harlem Globetrotters, there's an arena in Phoenix, Arizona. It's open on Sunday. No one's there. If you guys want to just rent it for half off or whatever. Yeah.
That's sad, unfortunately.
They probably made a good amount of money though. Cause so every kid in the stands went down and bought a basketball. Each one of the basketballs was like $35. And then you could buy the basketball with the gold lettering, which was $95.
I probably would have gotten that as a kid.
Yeah. So
I would get one of those as an adult.
It was literally every kid got one. So they probably made an okay amount of money. Plus, the tickets to the seats or whatever.
Well, it's cool that you went out and saw them, but it's sad for my childhood that the show has fallen off where they're basically doing the whole show in a high school gymnasium with a boombox.
Yeah, that is kind of what it is. It's cool though. I bet the guys that do it like have a good time. I was wondering how I become the coach of the Harlem Globetrotters because that dude was just literally just sitting in a chair looking at his phone the entire time. I'm like, why is this guy even here?
He's a piece of scenery to the show.
Yeah, they introduce him. They're like, it's Coach blah, blah, blah. And he walks out and he looks cool in his suit or whatever. And then he just sits on the sideline and just looks at his phone the whole time.
Intern.
Maybe. He looked like an old guy. He was probably like a former Globetrotter that just like gets, I don't know. Maybe he's a choreographer or something. I don't know.
He gets $35 for showing up.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they hire a different guy in each city to just show up and be the coach.
And one of those gold Harlem Globetrotter balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a slushie.
Yeah, it was weird, but I had to mention it. It was
that actually sounds fun.
It was very fun. I
will get back out, Jake, and you will probably be the only person that I'd be willing to get out with because the other person that I would go out with, I'm not going to blow up that person's spot, but I'm not going out with him anymore.
Gotcha.
And I know my GCU kids want to hook up and go out. One of my GCU kids wants to come over to my house and take cooking lessons. And outside of my house being half under construction with me doing little house projects right now. I'll get back out there. I miss my Hula's Modern Tiki restaurant. I miss my pork stuff pot stickers. I went and got them for carry out one day, and Hula's, the drive from the restaurant to my house, they just, those things are meant to eat in the restaurant. I'll just say that.
Let's go get some Carambas margaritas, dude. Let's go.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I mean, having like,
you could get the margaritas to go though.
Having like Streets of New York pizza with a $40 salad and watching a movie with you, that's one thing. But
well, I tell you what, dude, in 4 weeks when the Batman comes out on HBO Max, I am super down to watch the Batman with you.
You got it. Speaking of that, we'll make that promise. I have another movie promise, and this is what I've been holding on. No, we're over time. This is what happens when we don't do a show for 2 weeks. I have another movie promise that I want us to make to each other.
Uh-huh.
And I think that you'll be down with this because I don't think you're really excited about this movie. I will give you my theater virgin card.
I know exactly what movie too, because we already talked about it. But
did we on the show?
Not on the show, but just in private.
Well, Jake, now you just took all the steam out of it, now didn't you?
Sorry, the virgin theater.
Did you agree though?
I did agree. For Jurassic Park. Jurassic
Park. Because I know you're not excited about the movie, but I will give you my theater V card.
Have you seen the other two?
I've only seen the original one. I didn't watch any other ones.
You didn't see the two new ones? See, that's the thing is like, I love the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like the two new ones. Oh no,
I did see the
with
one
Chris Pratt,
where, yeah, with Dreamy, with Blue and the fingers and shit like that. Yeah,
I thought it was an okay movie, and then the second one was like,
There was another one after Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt was in it again, and then he's gonna be in this next one too. It's like a trilogy. Yeah.
Well, I saw an advertisement during the NBA All-Star
I'll still see
game.
it with you though.
Let's go. I think during our conversation about this, we also agreed that it would be a movie that you wouldn't be needing to go see during opening night. And it's so funny that I just realized that in my camera shot, there are 3 movie posters in my back, and I'm not that big of a movie fan. Wizard of Oz, old movie, Hunger Games, and The Jungle Book.
And I've got no movie posters. Actually, I do. That's Star Wars.
You have 2 kick-ass guitars and a green screen.
And a picture of Bob Dylan, my guy.
I'm gonna send you a black and white headshot of me.
That'd be so funny. I've always wanted to get a picture of myself like in a red robe, just like sitting in a big chair and just blow it up huge on my wall.
I hired somebody off of Fiverr to paint a picture like that of you. I sent them your picture and
man, I would love that. I would hang that in my bathroom 100%.
But you weren't wearing a robe in my picture. All right, that's it. We're out of time.
Yeah, check out the Lonercast channel. We're doing a lot of stuff. I'm working on a big project over there.
Yeah, way to oversell it.
How dare you? I was gonna say I've been editing this big project, and I fucking hate how it's turning out so far. So get excited for that, y'all.
Man, you know what? You could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman wearing white gloves in the middle of an Arizona desert.
And check out Loner Gamecast, twitch.tv/Lonercast. We also stream on YouTube now, so you can go over to the Lonercast channel and watch a stream over there. Cory, plug yourself.
I can't do that on the show, but
it's not video, so it's okay. You could.
Okay. I will mention that Fat Guy's been on hiatus for 2 weeks. We're taking we were in our spring break, but we had a DT put together an amazing best of clip highlights from the last 2 years of some funny ass fucking shit. And then I released a special season 1, episode 9 snackable titled BG Come Home. And if you know what I'm talking about, it's very interesting. But yeah, so go check that out. Snackable is out there. Released a special one, and then we'll be live back on Thursday nights this week at fatguyradioshow.com.
Fat Guy Radio Show.
And Jake and I are going to be registered at Macy's for anyone that wants to give our civil union a gift.
Yeah, please.
5, 6, 7, 8.